Hi Posey, hi Owen if you're watching. I am just going to show you how to do the multi-digit addition that you have been learning in school using some materials to hopefully make it a little bit more fun. So I have a problem here that your mom gave me, and here's the problem. 568 plus 537. And then I have just a few materials here. I got all of these at the dollar store, so it should be relatively cheap if you decide you want to do your math this way. So I have one tiny little pail labeled with the 1 for the units column or the ones column, depending on how your teachers have taught you that it's called. Over here we call it the units place in the place value. And I have this one labeled with a 10, and that's for the tens place. I have this one labeled with 100 for the hundreds place. And then I have these little containers filled with different colored beads. So I have the green for the units place, the blue for the tens place, and orange for the hundreds place. And of course, you can use whatever colors that you want. You can use marbles, you could use Legos, and I am using these little tiny green beads like this. They're actually little hearts because that's what the dollar store had. So that is what we are doing. So that's all it is to set it up. And then my first step here is going to be to rewrite your problem with the first number on top, the second number right underneath it with the place values all lined up, and the plus sign to indicate that we're adding. So we're going to rewrite it. 568 plus 537 so that it looks like this. So we have our ones lined up with our ones, our tens lined up with our tens, and our hundreds lined up with our hundreds. And I think that would be how they would have you approach this problem as well. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our beads, and for every, we're going to take our first number, and I'm going to start with the units. And so my units place in my first number is an 8. So I'm going to grab my units tray, the green ones there. I'm going to put 8 beads in my units bucket. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And look at the number again. In the tens place, I have a 6. So I'm going to grab my tens beads and put 6 of them into my tens bucket. All right, so there's 6 of those in there. And then the final digit that I'm working with is the hundreds, and that is a 5. So I'm going to take 5 of my orange hundreds beads and put them in my hundreds bucket. Okay, so now what I have here is I have 560, I don't know if you can see that, 8, the number represented in beads in my buckets. And then we're going to add to that the number 537. We're going to do that just the way we would if we were doing this on a piece of paper. We're going to add the 7 from this number, 537, into our ones or our units bucket. So I need to add 7 green beads into my units bucket. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to stop here for just a minute, and we're going to count now. Maybe you already know if you're really, really good with your mental math. We're going to count how many beads are in our units bucket. But here's the thing. When we get to 10, we have to regroup. So every time we get to 10 beads here, we're going to take them out of the units bucket, and we're going to put in a 10 from our tens container. So we're regrouping, but we're regrouping with the beads. So let's take them out and count them. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oopsie, try not to drop them. So I was at 4. There we go. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now I'm at 10. And remember, 10 units make 1 10. So we put the 10 units back in here, and we grab 1 10 out of the 10 beads. We put that 1 10 if you can see it, there it is, into the tens bucket. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units left, so I put those back down here. And then now here's the thing. I've got to put down on my paper what I did. So in the units, I'm going to write how many units I had left after I did my regrouping. So I had 5 left, so I'm going to write down 5. And then up here at the top of my tens column, I'm going to put how many tens beads I regrouped into my tens bucket. Do you remember what that was? It was 1, right? So we carry our 1 and we get something that looks like that. Okay, so we're going to keep on adding. Now we're adding 3 to the 6 and the 1 that's already in our tens bucket. So we grab our container that has our tens beads in, and we add 3 tens beads. So we go 1, 2, and 3. And now we do the same thing that we did with our units, only with our tens. So we're going to count here how many tens I have sitting in my little tens bucket. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. See, keep throwing them. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10. So I take these 10 tens beads, put them back in here, and I grab 1 hundreds bead because 10 tens makes 1 100. And then I pop it in there. So then I pick up my paper and I need to write down what I just did. So I write down how many beads I have left in the tens bucket, which is 0. And I write down how many hundreds I put into or regrouped into hundreds bucket, which was 1. So now I'm adding my hundreds. So I move on to my hundreds column and I add 5. So pick up my hundreds beads, count out 5 beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and put them in my hundreds bucket, and we are nearly done. Now we count how many beads are left in the hundreds bucket. We don't have to regroup now because this is our final place value, so let's count them. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in our hundreds. So now we write down the 11 here. And our answer, 568 plus 537 is 1,105. And that's how you can use manipulatives to help you do multi-digit addition. And you can actually use this same basic setup to do subtraction and to do multiplication and to do division. And maybe if your mom asks me to, I will make a short little video showing you how to do some of those using these manipulatives as well. So I hope you find that a little bit more fun. Get to play with beads, right? That's better than just sitting down and writing a piece of paper. Yeah, hope you enjoy that, Owen. And thank you, Posey, for asking me to make a video for you.